Hey everyone, and welcome to this explainer. Today, we're diving straight into a mechanism that is fundamentally changing how we interact with technology. We're looking at the mechanics of streaming and real-time AI, specifically focusing on how to build incredibly responsive applications. Our core mission today? Uncovering exactly how a brilliant back-end technique, known as chunked responses, makes modern AI applications feel, well, lightning fast. If you've ever marveled at how an AI seems to talk back to you the very millisecond you hit enter, you are absolutely in the right place. We're going to break down exactly how that works, why it matters, and how you can think about it for the tools you use and build every day. But first, let me ask you a question. Why do some AI apps feel instantly smart, while others leave you just staring at a blinking cursor? You know exactly what I'm talking about, right? You type in a complex prompt, you hit enter, and nothing. Just a blinking line. Or worse, a little spinning wheel. It's that universal, deeply ingrained frustration of waiting for technology to catch up with our train of thought. In our digital age, every second we wait feels like an absolute eternity. We instantly start to wonder, did my internet drop? Did the server crash? Is this app just broken? The fascinating thing is, the difference between an app that makes you wait and an app that answers immediately isn't necessarily about how smart the AI is behind the scenes. It's actually all about how that intelligence is being delivered to your screen. Okay, let's dive into this and look at our first major hurdle. Section 1, the AI latency problem. To really understand this, we have to look at the massive bottleneck traditional processing creates. Generating a sophisticated human-like response requires a ton of computational power. The AI is literally predicting the next word, over and over, crunching billions of parameters. If you do this the old-fashioned way, you get what's called a batched response. When an app uses batched responses, you literally just sit and wait. You are waiting for the entire massive paragraph to be fully generated behind the scenes before the server sends a single letter to your screen. It feels incredibly sluggish. But then we flip the switch to streaming, and boom, suddenly everything is real-time. The data is a snappy, continuous flow straight to your screen. The very second the AI thinks of the first word, it's on your monitor. Then the next and the next. It's a rapid-fire delivery that completely bypasses that massive wall of waiting. And this illustrates perfectly why the loading spinner is the absolute enemy of responsive application design. When you force a user to wait for that massive batched block of generated text, you are actively degrading their trust in your software. They aren't sitting there thinking, oh wow, the AI is doing very complex math for me right now. No way. They're thinking this app is poorly built. In the world of application design, perception is reality. If it looks broken because it's hiding behind a spinner for 10 seconds, the user is going to treat it as broken, and they will likely just abandon it altogether. So the cure to this waiting game lies in a very specific technical approach. Section 2. What are chunked responses? Now, what's really interesting about this concept is how it rethinks data delivery. Chunked responses are exactly what they sound like. The process of streaming data in small, immediate packets, rather than waiting for an entire generation cycle to finish. Let's break down that jargon a bit, because grasping this is key whether you're a developer or just someone who loves tech. Instead of treating a paragraph as one giant object that has to be fully constructed before shipping, the system breaks the data down into tiny chunks. As soon as a tiny chunk is ready, maybe just a few letters or a single word, it gets packed into an immediate packet and fired across the internet to your device. The generation cycle is still happening on the server, but you are getting the results piecemeal, instantly. If the technical jargon feels a little abstract, I always love using this analogy: the pizza. Imagine you go to a restaurant with a massive group of friends, and you order a gigantic, multi-course feast. If the kitchen used batched responses, you'd sit at an empty table for an hour, starving, while the chefs waited for absolutely every single dish to be perfectly finished and plated before bringing anything out. But with chunked responses, the kitchen serves it slice by slice as it comes out of the oven. The moment a hot slice of pizza is ready, a waiter sprints it over to your table. You start eating immediately, you're happy, you're engaged, and you don't even notice that the rest of the meal is still cooking in the back. That is exactly what we're doing with AI data. Let's shift the focus from theory to practice. Section 3. Building real-time AI. Let's see how this actually builds and look at how it unfolds across the system lifecycle in 4 synchronized steps. Step 1. You, the user, prompt the AI. You hit enter. Step 2. The AI processes the prompt and generates the very first token. A token is just AI speak for a word. Actually, scratch that. It's more like a tiny piece or chunk of a word, but you get the idea. Step 3. Instead of waiting for the second token, that first chunk is instantly streamed across the network protocol. And finally, step 4. The UI updates in real time. This loop, generate, stream, update, happens over and over hundreds of times a second. It's literally like a digital orchestra playing in perfect sync to deliver information to your eyes as fast as the machine can think of it. And when I say fast, I mean incredibly fast. The metric that defines success here is measured in absolute milliseconds. In the AI engineering world, there's a hyper-focus on something called TTFT, time to first token. If you want to create the true illusion of instantaneous thought, that time to first token must be reduced to mere milliseconds. If the user hits enter, and within 50 milliseconds the first word appears, their brain registers that as an immediate, human-like reaction. You've completely bypassed their threshold for noticing latency. It's not just fast, from a human perception standpoint, it's practically instantaneous.
So let's broaden our perspective a bit. Section 4, the future of responsiveness.
So the crucial point is that this technique isn't just some neat back-end trick. It represents a massive, fundamental leap forward for overall user experience. Why do developers obsess over this? Because chunking eliminates perceived latency entirely. Notice the word perceived there. The app might still take 10 seconds to generate the full answer, but because you start reading on second 0, you just don't perceive the wait. This keeps users actively engaged. It transforms the user experience from a static, stop-and-go process into a dynamic, flowing conversation. And ultimately, this is essential for modern app retention. If your application isn't using streaming, users are absolutely going to bounce to a competitor whose application does, simply because yours feels clunky in comparison. When you put all of this together, you realize something pretty profound. Responsive apps don't just act fast, they feel alive. That is the true magic of real-time AI streaming. When text pours onto the screen word by word, it mimics the cadence of human typing. It anthropomorphizes the software. It transforms a cold database query into a living, breathing interaction. It completely sets a brand new standard for how we expect to interact with the digital world. Once you experience an app that feels alive, going back to a static loading screen just feels archaic.
And that leaves us with a fascinating, provocative thought to end on. Think about this for a second. If AI can now essentially stream its thought in real time, how will that change our expectations for every other app we use? If your AI assistant can write a complex essay right before your eyes without a single loading screen, why should you ever have to wait for your banking app to load, or your email client, or a video game menu? Streaming AI is proving to us that we don't have to wait, and as this chunked, real-time architecture spreads like wildfire, it just might make the dreaded loading screen obsolete forever. Thank you so much for joining me in this explainer. Keep looking for those real-time streams out there, and I'll catch you next time.